Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745, and this is really a play test look, not a long series. So if you're looking for that, go look at one of my older series. We will be starting a proper series at some point, but this is just a test look that I'm sharing with you guys for better or worse. So that you, oh good, you're back, AKB. Look, you know, if you want to do that, join us. Please, subscribe, like, comment. Okay, so we're going to continue this. I say this stuff so much I forget whether I said it just a few minutes ago. So I'm sure I repeat myself. We're not building enough of this. I've been waiting for the 4-year plan to kick in. I know it's sometime soon, but again, like I was saying just before starting this, I'm not good at remembering dates. Albania, that can't be terribly big yet, but we'll probably say yes to it in a moment. Let's see if we can rack up 1 or 2 more beforehand. Second London Naval Treaty, especially the Second London Naval Treaty. The first might have avoided a war/arms race, but this was a ridiculous thing. Especially by this point with Germany arming up. Japan, well, it wasn't yet into the war proper with China, but they had gobbled up Manchuria. So, okay, that's probably, I don't know if it's enough, but that's fuel, yes, fuel for money. Supplies, yes, we're making a lot of supplies. That's good. We may even want to tone that down a little bit, but yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, sure, why not? Fuel for money, how are we doing? Fuel, not huge amounts, but still okay. Supplies for money. What we are going to do here is we're going to come down here and go down to about 100. Let's do about that to get more factories and whatnot into production. Oh, what is? Oh, here. Okay. One of the features I really, I wish they would have done one more expansion for this. I would love to be able to set these kind of some of these things, not just be able to click it to sort of what it needs, but just set it to auto go to need for, say, upgrades, reinforcements, or any of them that I wanted to do. And just, you know, so consumer goods, I wouldn't have to fiddle with, oh, you don't need to be spending this much on consumer goods. Fine, can't you just auto lower it? Can't I just set it to whatever the need is? And if I want to like go above the need, like if I need to, you know, increase, you know, monthly unity. This is an actual ballot here for the Reichstag Wahl, 1936, first election since 33 voters were only able to select candidates from. So you're voting for this selection of candidates: Adolf Hitler, you know, National Socialist Deutsches Partei, and these, you know, Frick, Goering, Goebbels, whatever, and you vote for it. Not like you had any other choices. I guess you could turn in a blank ballot, but yeah. Notice you gain more popularity, but you also lose a little in dissent because it's not quite a free and fair election. Now, some voting things did have like a smaller no thing down here, but yeah. Yeah, it will do some of that, but oh, you mean if I go here to manual to auto? Yeah, but I don't trust that. Going over to auto, and it will do some of that stuff, but I don't, from my experience, I don't trust going over to auto control, generally speaking. Yes, you can turn off like I've turned off, I don't know if you're here, upgrades for the whole SA. It's all of them are turned off. So yeah, you can do that. 4 units and give some priorities also. No longer. Yeah, I don't think we had been receiving the money for that fuel for a long time, actually. Try the upgrade version. Okay, we'll look at the upgrade version here. Upgrades is prioritize reinforcements, prioritize upgrades. Well, let's see how that goes here. Give it a data like change or shift or whatever. Diplomatic report. Interesting. Our diplomatic service has reported on April 36. The National Assembly of Czechoslovakia passed a law on national defense. Basically, when they say pass a law, basically that's sort of like a defense budget, defense priority kind of thing. Yeah, budgets are laws, but yeah, this will mean that they are increasing their ability to defend their nation. But that's my understanding from a Czech speaker who gave me these events, a reasonable translation of what they were saying. So let's look at the production here. Okay, now that they're doing this, that isn't bad, but look at the supplies and see it's trying to meet my production needs here, and I don't want to do, we needed to do this. I forgot on the replay. Okay, let's put all this to the top. Good thing I looked there. I know I did before, and though I didn't do the road one, I know before. So yeah, this is why I long ago, and to the point of almost forgetting about it, don't use these settings here, because it just doesn't work for me. It sees, oh, you have plenty of supplies. Well, I want supplies, and so we got to just do manual control. Well, good idea. Did just recently, but we can do it again. Thanks for the reminding. Zero descent. Yeah, well, descent isn't so much you have over 50, you have enough. Well, I might have enough, probably, and this is why I have cut down, but I don't want to go down to their thing. These, well, they're not really sort of showing up in the best order. Okay, yeah, we're getting double events still, so pause. Okay, so yeah, we're getting double events, dance show, this closing ceremony here, one of the skiers, yeah. Okay, I gotta go in and remove all of the black ice stuff, and that may need to be removed too. Okay, Sonia Henny, who's a Norwegian, does could have been the Olympic salute, but I'm not buying it. There was sort of an Olympic salute that did have an arm race thing. It definitely goes out of fashion after this because people conflate it with that, but I really think she did the Heil Hitler to Hitler and then goes up and meets Hitler. She was not a Nazi, but Nazism was popular and she was just trying to fit in, I would say. Okay, yes, so we can do supply, big increase. No, we're just going to do regular for increased training for motors. This is a national magazine, Der Deutsches Police Polizei Blatt. I don't know how you pronounce that, but yeah. Okay, Reich Colonial Bund. If you didn't have Tanganyika, which is another great mod of mine, which digs deep into this, if you really wanted to do this, do Tanganyika and forget about this. In my opinion, we're going to forget about this for the moment. I'm not going to, after looking at it, I'm not going to remove it because you're not necessarily going to be installing my Tanganyika, and you can just, I guess, say no to it and just use Tanganyika. We give them fuel for money. Good. Yes. No, we don't want to order it more than once. So yes, this is ordering from that. I like that. I like that image. You've got the ship. You got that's the ribbon there that goes onto the cap, the sailor's cap that goes around the brim to show what ship it is. And then you have a picture of Prince Eugen, who it's named after there from painting. Okay, so yeah, we will spend the metal to start the production. The reason that doesn't cost so much is because it just puts a day or so of production in there. Prince Eugen, if you want to build that. Yeah, we are building it. HQ, we'll do the full division. We'll spend the supplies. And you see, we're spending supplies there, and I don't know how much. You could say we have more than we need because there's just 300 supplies. 150 supplies. Yeah, not huge amounts maybe, but 1,300 supplies. 1,300 supplies. So I didn't keep all of that in my head, but we just hit that somewhat hard, not terribly hard. And yeah, I'm thinking here we probably should go down to, let's do that. Let's do 30 over production right now. Yeah, I like the micromanagement. Now I'm playing sort of super sloppy right now just to sort of get through and test this. I'm not even sort of, yes, I'm going just yes to most of this stuff. I could sit and just play in detail. I've learned to play faster in my Let's Plays. Yeah, I slow it down when we talk a lot, but are the plans to colonize or get colorized photos in black ice or photos in black and white photos? What yes, I'm micro in the max in production. Are there plans to colorize or get color photos in the black and white photos? I will not, unless somebody's paying me lots of money, I will not ever knowingly, because sometimes some of the colorization is good. And they did hand tint color. If it's a period, if it's like a 1930s or 1940s colorization, because they did hand tint, and so sometimes it's pretty bad colorization on photos in the period. But unless I believe it's a period color photozation, I will never use a colorized photo because I believe that is lying, because it's never right. It's lying. Now I will use a colorized photo for a thumbnail to get a video, because what that purpose is to get you to click on the damn video. So I will use it there if it looks good, but I will never use it in my mod unless hey Jin, how you doing? Please answer me. Okay, you play 10.2 and after a while it automatically comes out of the game. Okay, it crashes. Probably what's happening is, because there can be several different things. If all of these numbers here go red, don't ever click on production to see what's going on. Wait until it comes back, because if you click on production at that moment, if that's what you're having, it will crash the game. It happens because of the way we mod things, and not just myself. Otherwise, if it is on an auto save, what's likely happening is when it's going to save, like if you have it monthly auto save, you're saving and you're trying to do something else while it's trying to auto save, that causes a conflict and crashes. So certain negative resource IC settings here, because I learned that, what's going wrong here? Let me pause. Let me go in and crash. Let me pause and go and crash. But if you just give it, like normally it's another day, if that's the case, like wait till April 6th or whatever, it'll recorrect itself. It's just because it's readjusting something, and I can't quite dig into know. So that could be Jin, one of the or I guess it's Jim. Sorry. Yes, well, I'm talking. Yeah, that could be too, but it's some of the stuff in here that I've seen happen. Resources, if negative, might crash it. Yeah, but I'm talking about if it, not so much resource negative, but if it goes in here and then you clicked in, autosave is disabled. Well, without more details, and the later versions of the game, though I think 10.2 is pretty stable, it gets more and more stable. So I don't know. Is it just overdriving your system resources? I don't know that I can auto-diagnose this afterwards. Now we have inefficient research. Okay. Yes. We want to stop that. Okay. I've always loved this image from a kid that I remember. It is showing how the National Socialist State Party, whatever, is organized from the Block, the Zella, die Ostgroup, die, what is it, Kress or whatever, and der Gau. It's sort of showing how the party is all organizing everything up. SS Junkerschule Bad Tolz, which is still in existence, though they destroyed the archway many years ago now. Well, it's not. The building is still in existence. It was an U.S. Army base for most of the Cold War, or well, all through the Cold War, I believe. But yeah, and that Ryzen RAM. Yeah, that seems like a good system to run it, but it can be all kinds of things. Oh, and then go into the production screen. Yeah, that could be the cause, but I don't know if that was directly the cause. Okay, so we've lost. We've gone back to high priority. Okay, well, we are going with steel. Political feuds. Okay, don't know that I like that. Excuse me. Well, let's do traction suspension. That, yeah, fully uses up our leadership. Well, we probably reduce this down. Again, I'm playing. Oh, excuse me. Fairly sloppy here. I don't quite know. And let's. We also don't need so many spies. And yes, I can play more carefully, but we're again just mostly testing. Armor, okay, welded plate, 1936. Those are 1937. Density alloy is good. That we should do something like that. Special Forces branch. Machine gun focus would be nice. Develop some better bombs. No, that's 38. Twin engine bomb bay. Nope, not yet to Brown. I generally don't like to overstack. I have watched some of Benjamin Magnus's playthrough, and he does really well. I just quite haven't had time to like fully watch one of his series, but I know he likes to go into the reds on these and get sort of things planned out, but I'm more of a let's just do what we need and not so much go into the red, just so I know what is actively being researched on. Okay, you formatted the PC, reinstalled the game several times in a row, and still the same problem. What stage of the game is it randomly crashing it in? Is it at the beginning of the game? Is it I don't think what you're talking is, it's not like when it's loading, is it, Jim? It's when the game is running and playing like this, it just randomly crashes periodically. Or is it when you're loading? And also what is it early in the game, like in 36? Is it happening after the war starts? Is it late into the war? Those are some of the things that give us hints about what's happening. 1940. So, okay, the war is starting. Well, what could be happening, not saying is, or maybe even likely, but could be an event causing it. But what happens once, like 1940 starts happening, is the AIs, and there's ones running for each country, the war are starting to hit the processor harder and harder. So the more units out there, the more fighting, it starts using the system harder. So that could be when attacking France. But not when you're attacking Poland in 39. So I don't know. Hello, Nils. Necessary for Germany to build infantry divisions in BIs before the start of the war. I don't do that in my game, and the front looks somewhat lacking in infantry. Well, yeah, I would say infantry is needed. Now, building them as opposed to just getting them through events or putting them into the production queue, you definitely want to get all of the ones that are from events into production queues or deployed. I would definitely build before the war starts. Deutsches Fresher Radfunk, that's the TV. Deutsche Fresher, Paul Nickpow, Berlin. I've watched some of their, you can find on YouTube. I think I may even still have the link up on my channel to some of the German television that there. And you see she was, what's her name? Ursula Paschneck. Basically would go, Achtung, Achtung, Franchester, Paul Nickpook, Vera, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That's the start of it. All the way through the whole thing. She was the main face of television in Germany. And now television in Germany as a broadcast thing is just basically Greater Berlin. But yeah, and I don't know of any, not saying it doesn't, I don't know of any other cities. So there's Speer, Goring, looking at Reichsluftministerium, basically the ministry for the Luftwaffe. Look at the model. So we're spending on big buildings already. Yes, big buildings, important big buildings. That just crashed it. Okay, I don't know if I was clicking on too much, but that just crashed it. So as you can see here, I'll be restarting here. I'm getting crashes too. Again, I'm testing, and I don't know whether I'm just... Did anybody notice? Was it saving when I was doing it and I just didn't pay attention? Or... I guess we can go back and I want to sort of skip back in the thing a little bit and look for me while I'm restarting. Just to see if it was saving just as I was clicking on things. Reading checksum. Okay, we're back to that thing. Okay, yes, April 1st is when we are looking at it. Okay, how to win versus Soviets as Germany in BI-10 version. I play on very hard. Growth has very hard allies. Okay, well, I've never played the Growth level. That is just basically a little beyond what I've played. I think it was hard, triple hard. You can go and look at my last playthrough as Germany, or go through and I defeat the Soviet Union in what was it, 1940 was it, I think, and then again in I do a special one run through in 40 and one run through in 42. So my last series, you can go in and see Bogdan Rousseau how I did it, but it's not on Grofaz level. That's a little beyond what I did, but you can see at the beginning I do show what my or talk about at least. Okay, we're back to this again. No one could go back and look and see. I guess I will see if I can go back and look and see. Okay, let's see. Let's look at the VOD here. On YouTube. Let me. I know you're just looking at this. Hold on just a second. Hopefully this doesn't crash things again, but we can just go back and restart that. I just want to see if that last crash was. Turn off the audio. Can I go back? What caused that last crash? Okay, whoa. Okay, April 12th. No, okay, so it wasn't trying to save. Okay, so it was around maybe the Rad Shurin event popping up? Or is it just too many events popping up and I was clicking on something? Recording this has actually maybe helped me diagnosing what's going on here. Okay, well that's, I guess, my best advice is my videos on defeating the Soviet Union. As you know, it's how I, again, not as hard as you're playing, so I don't know. No, okay, let's see. I'm trying to watch here. Okay, pause. Okay, so trying to click on the production menu. Maybe because I had the production menu open when these events happened. That could be what's causing it. Okay, just wanted to know sort of what's going on. Come back to the game here. Hopefully things will go well. Okay, well, we played through the 12th, so we'll try to catch up quickly here. Again. Now, unfortunately, the timer, the way for some of the events, checks at the, and there's better coding than what I did originally that can check it more often. But what I did might not trigger if it's not triggered at the start of the month. So some of the stuff might not show up until next month. We have to hit all these. And readjust production levels. Full division. Yes, start to Prince Eugen, and yeah, let's Readjust this down. I know we did this before, but we're doing it again. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I was just looking, wasn't doing something too much. Okay, we just, for some reason it didn't pop up, but political, oh, because it's probably too long of a selection of units effect. If it's too big to appear on the screen, it just won't. Now, of course, it's not doing good for my thoughts on the stability of this settings. AI stream or AI Steam origin. This version I'm actually playing on right now is not the Steam version of the game, though I have recently fully got all of the mods for that. Just got to remember to remove the when you download it from Steam, take Hearts of Iron 4 and copy it into another location that's not in the Steam folder, and then add the mods to it. Particularly, the problem is the Podcats EXE version that Steam will see as the not up to date, so it will remove it and put the other version for it, and that will keep you from playing the game. And so, yeah, that is an issue. Well, he says he's not auto-saving. That was my first thought as well, that autosave was causing it. Well, this time I'm stopping before going into the production screen. I always see autosave as sort of a double-edged sword. It can both, if there's a crash, means whether it's a month back or a week back, you can go back to the save. Autosaves have caused a bunch of crashes, so. Okay, thanks, Arno. Yeah. Well, I just don't know whether it could have been that I had the production screen open when one of the events fired. It could have just been that, because it could have been that bug that we were talking about that's affecting the economy in one way or another, and could have been that. I'm not entirely sure, and partially because we can't go in and look at it, just what the code or the conditions are that cause, whether it's a negative resource total, not usage, but going to a negative resource and opening it up. But definitely, if all three of these go red up over here, the your wasted IC, your base IC, and your available IC, if all that goes to red, and then you click on production, that will automatically crash your game. So if you are maybe having the screen open when that happens, that might cause it. Yeah, I think it's an idea of buffs or negatives that are coming on, and the system hasn't properly adjusted for it. Is exactly what I think it is. And again, think, because okay, well, we're now into producing ships. Well, let's move the ships down because I don't care about them that much. I'd rather just get maybe the aircraft out. we do have, let's see, coming online, still none of the steel, because we're negative somewhat on the steel refineries. So, well, yeah, let's just, some of the key ones, we'll add another one. This is, of course, going to hurt my other production totals. Now, we haven't been waiting for it to see the 4-year plan. I know I've said that before, but let's add that, which will definitely help in production totals. There we are. We'll do rares and that. Okay. Don't know. Maybe bring the others up faster. I sort of want to clear those decent nearly finished aircraft out of the production queue. Oh, I thought we had more than 3. Thought I started more than 3. Did I misclick on a bunch of that stuff? Oh no, that's not. Oh boy, what an idiot I'm being. Okay, I'm being an idiot. Clicked on a bunch, but those are the 3 new ones. The rest are +1 to current. And we'll just, because I want them out of here, we'll push these up to the top. Get them into production. Yeah, they're just, the rest were repeat. We're adding another one. Boy, I'm being an idiot. Okay, cavalry exploitation. Again, that's one that could fully deploy here, so yay. September 36. Okay, we'll let that continue. So much of April events are now sort of pushed back to May, which may cause other problems, but hopefully not major ones. Okay, well, to some degree we have a bit of a, we still need a lot more oil and a lot more steel. Come on, I have to look, and I thought it was like March. Okay, they have decided buy chromium from United Kingdom, buy chromium from United Kingdom. Now, I know these things, events here, trade offers. I don't know what triggers them, or manganese, chromium, copper trade. I don't know what those do in this new version. And I like more depth to the game. But I like, because I don't know how those function and what they function, but I like the idea that the player has choices over a lot of this stuff like that. But I don't know, again, how that's supposed to work. Buy zinc from United States. Okay, I know we have a zinc resource somewhere in here. Here? Yeah, here, zinc. You often mix that with things like lead. Okay, well, we're going to save again, just to be on the safe side. Buying zinc, they're buying chromite in Turkey. Okay. Again, I don't know what those do within the game, at least. No one's buying from me, though. Okay, just noticed we were deploying some, probably some steel or other factories. Good. I don't know if they're anticipating us. You know, I'm going to take my hands off unless I pause this thing. I guess we will pause it here. Just to clear that, okay, they're not buying the supplies anymore. Okay, let's see, who needs supplies? Wrong way, okay, USA, we could sell them a lot of supplies probably. Okay, that would be good. United Kingdom doesn't have money. Australia, you have money and need supplies. Can we sell you supplies? Impossible. Okay, politically impossible, I guess. Also politically impossible. Switzerland, I think, is... Okay, very likely. You need 23. You can do 7. Okay, let's do that. Netherlands, lots of money, need supplies. Uh, 14. Yeah, I'd rather have it ongoing than stock up and then stop. So they could use 11. Let's see if they'll... No. Hungary, 4. No. Well, that'll help us if they all do that. We may be able to get a second batch through to the Americans. I want to get to buying enough oil. Sure. I don't know what the most stable version is. My last playthrough of 9 something was very stable, and I quite honestly have not been paying close attention to 10 something just because I have not been playing it. So I don't know. Okay, Monaco Grand Prix, so we go in there, we don't win, I don't think, whatever. Read that. Okay, we've already looked and we know that there's multiple. We're going to continue training. I just don't want to go over all this. Seabed Poro, we could build that for a lot of that, gets us some popularity for a little while, loses 2 popularity. NSDAP, how popular is the government? Yeah, we'll build this. And we have the supplies and the money. Okay, the NS Ordnance Bergen. Yeah, we'll talk about all that. Onshuren, dance show, closing ceremonies, which should be coming up before this. No. Heat wave of 36. Okay, Canada, Mexico, they get a lot of negatives. Tank destroyers for motorized support. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I'd have to read better to know. Okay, ooh, we are about ready to have problems with that, the steel. I've got to go through and cut down some of the stuff I'm taking steel out for, because before steel was just like overflowing of steel, of steel, of steel. Now, I do know you're talking about stability. I do know a bunch of people have been insisting upon using mine and other mods with 10x, 10 something or other. And, oh, it's playing it just fine. No, it isn't. It is not playing just fine. You may not notice the problems because they may not be showing up on your screen. They might be things that are causing instabilities. Might be. I'm not saying they are, because I don't know all of what's going on, and I could show an example here of a problem that's going on. In fact, I'm going to do that. Well, let me get through this. Course vessel training ship. Oh, we're getting ready to go negative. Okay, let's just put all this aside. Let the calendar go for a day or two. Now, I don't know why everybody's buying all this stuff and I'm not. They're not buying from me. Don't have an event that can happen. They're only 60 plus a day. Okay, well, let's see. Things that don't cost steel. Trade agreement. Yes, we did this. That costs metal. No. Okay, yes. Magazine, radio station, metal, 150. Okay, we don't really want to go into negative, but let's me go over, tab over to this. Hold on just a moment. Okay, we have that up, but let me come into here. That would be common countries, Germany, and countries, Germany. I'll show you guys here in just a moment. Okay, okay, here we go. We're back to a little bit of looking at this stuff. Let's make sure I'm on the TRE version. Come to Tools, Compare, and we're going to select this and Black Ice, Common Countries, Germany. Okay. Again, I like using this stuff here. And we can see this is sort of the basic foundations here. This version is what's in TRE. This version is, and this is a common file. So my mod says use my version and not the Black Ice version. So what we can see here is these are all exactly the same until we get to here. And so the big thing here is what they've done here is added more and actually changed it from having 34 whatever Shawander Squadron or whatever to just Z whatever, making the name shorter. Okay, that's fine. Not that big of a difference between the two, but there's just more of them. But mine doesn't include names for coastal submarines use. So it may auto-generate one. And this may not be causing any sort of crashing problems. I'm not saying it is, but this it doesn't have this, and you just might not see it. Come down here, long-range submarines, it's mostly just more or slightly different name. And the electroboat submarines are just not in my version in that. So the reason I touch this file here is come down to ministers. I have, for my thing, Adolf Hitler, and he's head of state minister, head of government minister, head of chief of army minister. You have it, as opposed to just power-hungry demagogue, flamboyant tough guy, decisive battle doctrine here. So I've tailored this out. So this is why you want mine and not the standard version, because it's more tailored. We also have added a bunch of ministers that were in what is it, TDW, that just, he ended up just thought, instead of maintaining his own version, just add it to mine. These are a bunch of other stuff for mainly having a some of them are non-national socialist, some of them are national socialist, some are paternal autocrat. So these are in the game that I've added. So this is why my file is better than theirs, but we should, some of these start dates, that's no big deal here, but it's that are differencing. But the big thing are my ministers, and the added TDW ministers make mine more important, but I'm missing here. So I just need to sort of copy and paste this section of it over into mine. And so if you were playing my version without it being updated, you're missing stuff. You may not know it, but you are missing things. And it could be things that might cause instabilities. If it's looking for me, BIs for HoI is unplayable. They tried to copy BIs from 3 to 4 and it ended in a big mess. I would agree that it ended in a big mess. I don't like some of their choices. And some of the, I have some friends that were friends before they started working on the BIs for Black project. So this is nothing that I'm taking as personal against them. It's just I'm disagreeing with some of their choices that they're making. And some of their effects are trying for good ends, but the implementation just isn't working well, in my opinion. So yeah, I still like this the best. I'm just trying to get my arms around, or my mind around, all of the economic changes, and to seeing how much, not do I like it as in making the, here's the thing that I fear, and I don't know because I haven't been paying attention to the forums of either of the Black Ice ones enough, but I do know that if I'm talking to the Hearts of Iron 4 team, they're trying to make some of the stuff more challenging. Because, in my opinion, and I think they would maybe agree with this, is that the AI, at least combat AI, particularly sucks for Hearts of Iron 4, but still also sucks for Hearts of Iron 3. So they're trying to make it more of a challenge, to give that player, well, can you crush Germany? And, yeah, okay. Well, we want to make it tougher because we want to make the game challenging. I want the game historical. So yes, Germany didn't, in my opinion, especially peacetime Germany, was able to import plenty of steel because it ran plenty of steel. It was able to, peacetime Germany was able to import plenty of oil because it did. It could have used some more, but it wasn't a serious problem. Now it becomes a serious problem when oil imports are cut off outside of Romania and the Soviet Union. But I should not. I don't know what I'm going to do, because I've been asked, and I'm probably going to do it, is make a version of TRE at some point here before I get to play it that addresses some of these issues. That yes, Germany should not be overflowing with plenty of oil right now, but it should not be too expensive to buy enough oil for Germany. Now, so the point is, Germany should be able to easily export. We can look at all of the supplies that we are exporting. Well, that isn't a lot, but exporting supplies here, and fuel that we're exporting, 50. Okay, 20 of those are. I'm always hitting the really bad ones, but some of the fuel and whatnot. Well, maybe some of they've canceled some of these. I don't know. We're exporting huge amounts of fuel. I think we're over exporting. To get what we need, and so the idea is not that Germany should have to struggle. I mean, it should have to export some supplies to pay for the fuel. Yes. But the idea is not that that's the hardship for Germany. The hardship is that Britain is blocking the ability to import fuel, not that Germany couldn't pay for the fuel reasonably effective. And I think they're overdoing it. That's my analysis of the situation here. So, and steel, partially this is my fault for the way the mod has been coded and they've changed things. Partially is I think they're overdoing it, because when I was looking at this mod, you were swimming in steel. And I wanted to make steel a little more of a concern, but without being a, you know, oh my God, what are we going to do? We're running out of, it was never my intention to, with all of my events, just hitting yes, 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 to ever like go below 10,000 or even anywhere near that in steel. But it was meant to, so that you weren't pegging it out at 9,999, whatever, very quickly. So I was heavy-handed with it, quite honestly, just because of that. And yes, we're just going yes. Radios advanced, very good. That's probably radios advancing, electronics, yes, that is something that we want to stop at the moment. Well, we can do air liaison. That sounds like a plan. And then we were just okay. Heavy AA against Seaport Tech. Did I not? I thought I did that in an earlier one, but I with the save. Yes, you're right. Okay, we will do that, and I will get rid of that. We'll actually move that down because we do want Seaport Tech up and going. Thank you, IKB. Oh, that production of equipment and then the training of the units is a wondrous thing. That is what, that alone is what keeping me interested in the future development of HoI3 instead of just being a refusenik on it, is the equipment production. I have wanted that since before I ever heard of Hearts of Iron in the game, of equipment production instead of unit production. Okay, we're getting to where we can maybe afford one of these. Okay, we'll take that one. Okay, so I don't know. I think we faced the events that happened when we had the last crash, so I don't know what's going on. So it may not be something that is easily repeatable. River tactics, advance. I think that is something that we just generally want to keep. Yeah, we just see these things. I don't know. I would have. I don't know their thinking, because they're the only ones that had stormtroopers, and maybe they shouldn't have, you know, completely gone through stormtroopers. But I would have had the first one already done. Oh, and I want to specifically say as well here that I know I'm not right in all of what I'm thinking, because I know I don't have access to all of the facts and figures, but no one does. With internally, unlike the Soviets, who lied to themselves internally, you know, because hey, if you didn't meet your quota, you know, your factory's quota, you, not only would you maybe be fired, you may end up either killed or in a gulag. So you claimed I sent out 5,000 trucks last month. You didn't get 5,000 trucks delivered? Well, that truck delivery drivers must have stolen the trucks. So they lied to themselves internally, and they lied at different levels. And so none of whatever the facts and figures that you get out of the Soviet Union they're lies. Now, how big a lies, that's another question, but they're lies. Germany kept very good records, but then a combination of things like Allied bombing and then Germany's own intentional destruction of records just at the end of the war gets rid of lots of records. So scholars who look into this stuff and actually read original source material, we do not have all the facts and figures for Germany. So I know I'm not right, that I'm going on based off of books. So I'm not saying whoever, whichever mod makers we may be looking at, is wrong and I'm right. I'm just going, I don't get the feeling from my reading that it's X or Y. So take it as that. And so I'm not claiming to be better than they are. It's just, yeah, we can do that now. Just that I'm going with my feelings of my understanding of the historical conditions. Because what was limiting production for Germany, say, because I've looked more in details in tanks than in aircraft, was that, in 1936, we just won 150 Panzer Is to try out, at the beginning of 1936. And 6 months in, we won another 150 with these changes, and we're going to try them out. And then, so that's, but, the factory could turn out 800, say in that time, without any expansion to the factory. It's just, you only want 150, well, we'll produce that, and then we'll idle the factory. So I know production could have been without straining the system. Now, to the best of my knowledge, before the war starts, particularly like in 1936, there isn't the idea, well, do we allocate this steel for production of ships or for tanks? No, there was plenty of steel going around, partially because they aren't at max wartime, total war economy, because they're giving us war economy right now. I could maybe disagree with this and say it's just full mobilization compared to other nations. This really only starts happening, in my opinion, once Speer gets in charge of the economy. So yeah, we could maybe argue that some of this should be changed. And it's that, and it's being cut off, and other things that are causing the problems. Okay, we'll go into some of this some other time. That's more a notification of an event going on in the U.S. So yeah, I'm not wrong. The Russians used stormtroopers first time in World War I. I just don't know of what Russia did in World War I enough. Ari might still be around, and he's a bit of a fan of World War I. Don't know how well he knows Russia and what constitutes stormtroopers, if you will. I know I have photos of like Austro-Hungarian stormtroopers and Bulgarian stormtroopers, and they, at least photographically, meaning they're wearing gas masks and they have stall helms and they have hand grenades and whatnot, so they're just standing there, being photographed. Heavy again, so we sort of cut back for before. So I don't know how good those, how much stormtrooper tactics they would use. But also you have to a point, remember that with these techs, it's not just that, hey, that sergeant over there, he figured out how to do stormtrooper tactics, so we know that now. Or, hey, that aircraft designer developed this new propeller. No, for a tech like a propeller, you have to have the guy on the drawing board figure it out, then make it, and then get it into the production lines to do that. And for the tactics, not only do you have a sergeant who figures out how to do it, you have to have that, put it into like a book and set up training programs to spread it throughout the army. So yeah, Russia very well may have used stormtrooper tactics in World War I. I just don't know. But I know the general, because I've also looked at the Russian Civil War a little bit more, stormtrooper tactics were not commonly used in the Russian Civil War. So it is not a common tactic that is spread widely in the Russian army. Now, not all German soldiers were stormtroopers, of course, but it was a tactic that was well known, widely spread around. And by the time you're getting into 1936, it's something that is well understood by the German High Command. And so it's something I would say in general idea. Well, good, Brett. End of the war, the Japanese took to burning records to the next level at the end of the war. Yeah, the Japanese were burning. Yeah, there's some books somewhat titled like Hitler versus Stalin or whatever, and it looks at some of the stuff, and it sort of went in and it gave a good analysis of why the Soviet records are such lies. Because some of the records are lies because although they knew better, they were trying to project production facts to the Allies, to the general world outside of Russia. Sometimes they're trying to project facts to the general populace in Russia. How many tractors were made this year? 10,000 new tractors were made. That's just a lie in there. But even the factories themselves, because, like I was saying, there's all kinds of incentives to lie within it. And so even the guys that are trying to understand, internally to the Soviet system, trying to actually want to know what the real number is, can't get that information well. So looking back at it, we know it's a lie. Just how big of a lie it is. Gamer's 100% right here. The Germans developed framework basic ideas in the fully fledged. Yeah. So hello, accounting for Gamers AFG. Good to have you here. Yeah, and so a doctrine that we're seeing here within this game as represented down here is stuff that is not just, hey, we've developed it in a training center, not just that some sergeant, lieutenant, or general or whoever has, come up with it, and he maybe even perfected it onto himself, but it's getting it spread out through to the system. Now, I don't know, paratrooper tactics. You don't spread that out to every single soldier because not every soldier is a paratrooper. Stormtrooper tactics. You don't want every soldier to be a stormtrooper, partially because it's a specialized, you want to use the better troops to use it, but you want a general understanding of it. You do still want maybe standard infantry tactics as well, because they're sort of, raiders isn't maybe quite the right term, but they're sort of, deep thrust personnel. So it's, with any of these things, it's, different levels of stuff that you're looking at, and some is going on, cavalry exploitation. Now they're sort of 1916, they're putting this date. That partially just makes it researchable, but really should Germany have to be researching this right now? We could argue that. Now, World War I, Germany, Britain, both of those definitely. I just don't know about France, but Germany and Britain definitely knew sniper warfare. Now, America sort of kind of knew sniper warfare World War I, but they intentionally forgot it. Institutionally, they intentionally disposed of all of that at the end of it. So they had to relearn it in World War II. And then they institutionally got rid of it after World War II. And then particularly in Vietnam, I think maybe a bit in Korea, but definitely in Vietnam, they decided they should have snipers. These sniper ideas are really good. So they had to relearn sniperism and set up schools for it. Now, after Vietnam, they've kept the sniper school going throughout, so it is now an institutionalized thing. But the American military mind has, especially at the higher levels, has various things, and especially in the American military, Army particularly, they don't like elite units. They institutionally don't like elite units. That may have changed now by promoting up a lot of people out of elite units into very high commands. But when I was associated, not in it, but associated with it in our OTC way back when, and other things, they just don't like elites. They want everything common. Common soldier, common tanker, common whatever. They want that. That is an institutional truism, at least has been in that there. production general thing, and I think it wasn't a huge lend-lease from the Allies. I don't know if the Soviets would have been out of the war. I would dispute that with the lack of lend-lease, but the Soviets would not have been able, in my opinion, and again, we don't know because we don't have the good record, would not have been able to be on any counter-offensives or counterattacks on any sort of things, let alone general offensives. They might have been able to continue to maintain the war effort, in a holding action kind of thing. And yeah, I didn't know that Canada provided 50,000 trucks, but I knew many, many tens of thousands or more trucks that were provided through Lend-Lease. I knew that for sure. Didn't know that it was specifically Canada that much. So that would have really made the Soviets' ability to go on the offensive tremendously difficult. And Soviet propaganda does not want to acknowledge the extent of Lend-Lease. They're happy to acknowledge that Lend-Lease helped a bit, and thank you very much, and here's some photos, and they particularly like doing that internally to show, yes, the Allies are supporting us, blah, 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 they're sending us some help. But they didn't want to highlight it too much. And so, I think scholars who look at the stuff have good access to what was sent and what actually made it there, because we know what was, submarines or whatever, sunk. But, so we know that. And they had the whole Lend-Lease thing coming in through Iran eventually, and a lot of that was truck-borne. So they would load up trucks with Lend-Lease material and drive it in and give both the truck and the stuff on the truck to the Soviets. The Soviets continue using the truck as a military device and carrying box loads of rifles or whatever. Obviously, they would use that in combat. There is a post-war story that a Soviet car factory was running out of car seats for their stock, so they made a load of cars with only driver seats. I can imagine that. That's filling the quota, and however it takes, because especially once the war starts, you don't want to be called a saboteur or whatever the term that they would want to throw around and get you executed. What do we want to do? Let's see. We could do ASW. Now, things like ASW, I definitely could see that needing to do. Okay, so we have Industry Advance. Very good. That is also what is, I think, here. Is it here? No, it's construction here that is pushing us to being... But I'm getting the feeling I'm going to do some major modding. I don't know. Okay, let's pause this with all this broadcasting advance. That would probably be here. So yes, we want to stop that. Okay, improve security units. We'll need all of that for our security suppression. And is that also, yeah. Let's find that. And then new current realignment of things that I don't know where they put them in the new version. Is it here? Or is it over here? Military police. Is it military police? So, no, it's improved security units. It's up here, I think. Again, I have to find this. Probably all already going. It's somewhere because you've been playing the newer versions. Oh, no, that's Prime Mover. Isn't it here? Oh, here it is, down here. Cancel, so 1940 tech. Okay, well, that's a little too far advanced for me to want to do right now. High density alloys, we'll do that for sure. I know we selected that, and tracks. Do that as well. Okay, we've already looked at that one. They need a bigger one. Oh, that probably got us negative. No, I'm not going to click on that just out of it, but I don't know if that would. Well, let's save this. Okay, we're going to try this. We're at negative resources for steel. We've saved it, so if we have it, and we're going to open the production screen, and no crash. So it is not the negative resources that it's causing the crash sometimes on selecting of this. Okay, we're going to reduce this down a bit more, because we're getting a bit over on this stock. What we're not having is enough steel. We still haven't gotten to, I thought it was, well, by May or yeah, whatever. Yes, IKB, thank you. Time to clean up house. Okay, see now if I clicked on that, that would have been a problem. And it may have been related to, but not directly the negative of the steel that caused that to go in. Had I clicked on it then we would have had a crash, I do believe. We give them money for crude oil. How much money do we have? Okay, we have a lot of money, and we have a big, okay, so what I want to do is, well, let's see, let's look for, well, Sweden, where is Romania? Romania doesn't have any excess oil. Oh, well, let's sort via name. Nope, nope, okay. They don't, well, I guess we'll try to buy from the Soviet Union. They have a deficit of oil? What the hell's going on? Who are they selling it to other than us? Production. They're not even selling us any oil. How the hell? I didn't think that people would. That's odd. If they pulled lots of oil out, Soviet Union should have plenty of oil to sell to us. Okay, well then I guess it means we're going to buy from the USA. Not that that's a problem. It's just, well, if they'll sell it to us. I do want to like sell them more supplies, but trade agreement. It just obviously it's something that could be cut off. Well, let's go deficit time because we've got a lot. Not that I want to have a deficit, but I want to maybe have people give me trade deals because I am in a deficit. Yeah, money needs to be a thing, and it needs to have an impact. But it also shouldn't be the struggle, in my opinion, that you're like worrying about everything all the time. Of course, you are running Japanese aircraft plants. You need to remember the factor in the cost of oxy. Yes, absolutely, IKB needs to at least one of the factories pull them out of there. Okay, see now metal 1200. I see I overdid this for. They created this artificial lake, and you could look like there was maybe a concrete lining there with metal frame or metal reinforcing, so that's why I stuck in some metal, but we could drop that down realistically down to 250 or something, or maybe even down to 50. Oh. Okay, that got a bit of a readjust here. Okay. Yes, supplies. That won't last long, but sure. That might last a while. That won't last long, but sure. Well, the Dutch may continue to build by then. Okay, that should help. Now, what was the last traction, or what was the last? Standard infantry branch upgrade. Okay, And it's grayed out. Okay, no wonder. Okay. Special Force branch. Great. Well, we are getting some of the steel online, and I do believe it varies how much it affects by how much the steel is in the base province that the factory is being built in. Heaven Command, maybe a development of Stormtrooper. Himmelfar Storm Commando. I don't know what that is, quite honestly. Yeah, I don't, because I've yet to actually have a tradable via one of these offers come to me, and I hovering on them over here. Okay, money at least. Okay, so this is only if we have huge amounts of money. Okay, well, I don't know. We're still waiting to get over 1200 metal. Well, I think I will see about going in and cutting down some of the metal on and some of the requirements on some of this stuff as it is. But I also think I'm still goddamn waiting for the freaking I forget when I thought it was around now for the 4-year plan to kick in, which should give some never ever go under 2K money. Well, we're trying not to. Sorry, does that translate as Suicide Squad? I don't know. If it does, it's... yeah, sort of. Well... I don't know anything about that. I've never consciously seen anything about that. So I'm not, again, by saying that doesn't mean it doesn't exist and isn't a real thing. It's just I never encountered the term in any of my readings or anything that I can remember. Yes, supplies. Okay, mass events, which lowering our IC but increasing our manpower, and we want to stop that because we're going to come over here and stop researching that for now. I know we can, and we have done a few 1937 technologies, but still looking to try to clean up most of the 36 now, and most efficient time to do so. Memorial for World War I sailors. Yeah, we can afford the money and the supplies. But I can also easily go into either the at start TRE event or the the 4-year plan event and go in and add more steel to the game. And I don't mean this to be easy or some sort of super buff, but I'm just... I feel like it's a two-element thing I'm feeling as I'm playing this, and I presume others have to feel this too. This is becoming too much of an economic management game, and I'm all for the idea of, oh, hey, yeah, you have lots of factories. You need to sort of also balance it out by creating some, more steel refineries. That's good. Okay, that's good. And I'm all for the idea that you can't just like, okay, we're going to spam out from 1936 to 1940 or something, ICs. And by doing that, we're going to have enough coal and enough steel, and then we're going to in 1940, we're going to start producing units, and we're just going to, spam super Germany and not have any repercussions about that. That's also bad. That's bad in the other extreme. I don't want that. I don't want to be able to do functionally, and at times I would say it almost has been, and that's sort of what TRE was there to correct. Unlimited factory spam ability. I don't want that to happen. But I do know that they were increasing many areas of the economy. Some of them, in Hearts of Iron 4, where you have military ICs and civilian ICs. Well, some of them are not even convertible back and forth. They're the same damn thing. A shoe manufacturer is a boot manufacturer. A civilian radio manufacturer can build, vehicle radios to put in, half tracks and tanks and aircraft. So it may be different models of that, and some of them have sending and receiving units. So there may be some changeover, sure, but it's not like entirely having to switch back and forth. So having them all one type in Hearts of Iron 3 is not the best option either. And you can, of course, convert the stuff in Hearts of Iron 4. And I'm just sort of analyzing some of this as I'm speaking here. So the idea that you have a limited amount of factories that produce factories, because setting up a steelwork, yeah, you could take a steelwork that makes big, huge naval guns and maybe turn out, I-beams to build things in factories. But really, it's not really designed to do that. So yeah, you can convert over, but it's not quite the same thing. And creating massive gun barrels that factory isn't really gonna help you create engines. Yeah, so there's, so you build a bunch of rifle factories. Yeah, some of the machine tools could be converted over. That's why you can go back and forth to some degree to making other machine tools, but really it's designed to make rifle barrels. So you have military and civil, and I agree with that in a concept, and expanding the stuff. So this is open to abuse. But my sort of half my philosophy is, if that's your play style, and this is what some of the oh my god was trying to deal with some of this stuff, is that if you spammed out too many factories, and I don't know if it's still in here, because maybe with all this other stuff it's no longer a thing, but if you spammed out too many factories, then there was other negative effects that would happen. And I think he overdid it when I last looked at the thing, and so I reduced the restrictions. I mean, there's still restrictions. I agree with the idea, but to a point, I said, I think, if that's your play style, knock yourself out. Now, it does maybe come into the idea that if that's your play style and then you're playing multiplayer, and we're sort of trying to play multiplayer that's based in a historical reality, then yeah, some stuff. So I don't know. This just seems like too much resource management that I'm having to micromanage and struggle with, on the one hand, and on the other hand, it's seemingly more problems, especially in 1936, more problems than I think I should be encountering with things like steel. Fuel, I get, and there should be a deficit that needing to import in 1936, yes, but please also note I'm stocking up lots and lots of fuel, also still selling it too. But I'm not burning the fuel, so, but I should be stocking up fuel. And rare materials, that was also a bit of a struggle for Germany, like I was talking earlier, and they definitely addressed it. But I don't think it should be as huge a problem with my current industry, with my current setup in 1936. Now here, okay, we're starting to build a Scharnhorst, which is telling me we should be building, and we're just about halfway through 36, just only building industry here. And yes, they were building a lot of this stuff historically back then, obviously. So I am abusing the system a bit. I will admit to that. But economies aren't zero-sum games. And this is too much of a zero-sum game to me. So I think it's overdoing it. That's my analysis. It's overdoing it in that thing. Okay, what Arno's saying. You'll have to translate the menu, but this is what it is. Okay, thank you. It just hit 160 and you just got a warning. Oh, you probably just did that in your thing. Yeah. And so, yeah, you can spam it out and get way too much. Last resort action by selecting minor unit used in an emergency situation may be using a penalty for a unit. I think reduce the cost in ICs of the economic buildings. Just building ones for resources. A factory should cost more than a steel factory. As logically, the factory develops more complex machinery. The simple change would be to reduce the cost in ICs of the economic buildings. Okay, that would be a thing. Because again, and I have looked in the past, but it's been in the past, and I don't remember all of the details, so I can get things wrong. Yeah, we're going to continue to go through superior strength here. But my remembered understanding is that you still can't do that without going to deficit. These buildings here only there are a multiplier effect upon the base level of the resource here. So if you have no oil, building oil rig is useless. If you have just one factor of oil, it helps. I don't know where up here. I think we have an oil. Thought we had an oil up here in Bremen or something, or maybe it's over in Hamburg. No, that's coal. Okay. Okay, here we have one building and 6 factors. So yes, you can. Now if you have 6 and you fill this up, you'll get more. But you'll get a percentage more if this was only 3, so obviously you want to focus some of this where you can, but you can only max it out, whatever this is, for that. And I agree with this idea, but I like your idea of going in and modding the cost to building some of these so that you can, in a practical sense, not all in like 1936, but if we were to start in 1936 and we're gonna hit this, and I want to come and look because I didn't know if I had any in production. 6 ICs for until August. So okay, 6 ICs, August 10th, June. So 3 months. Well, 2.5, or 2 months and 10 days, or whatever. So yeah, it wouldn't take that long, but it's taking you basically the cost of, or actually more than the cost per day. And this is all the way December 10th, 6 months down the road. So this is a lot more cost, but it's taking you that to expand the oil wells. And yes, I don't know if it could be abused. Obviously, I can come in and change other values, but if we just made it, that is fairly cheap. But if we just either you reduce the cost instead of reducing the time, and you spam out wherever it was with 6, you're only going to max that out. And see here, if I max this out at a 1.3, we can see now. See, I'm also notice TRE does cut some of this down, and I was trying to deal with some overages here. So, and maybe I should get rid of that, cutting that down. That might be part of the problem, because before it was too easy. I mean, it was just too easy when I made the mod originally. So I'm importing 200, so it would be a problem. Okay, I'm not importing 200 plus iron, so it'll be a problem to supply the industry. Unlimited building runs into natural barriers. Yes, you have the natural barriers of the resource itself. So unlike that, well, you do have, I guess, the idea of coal or energy or whatever you want to call it, because it does simulate things like hydroelectric power, which at least close-wise can be sold across borders in practical sense. Coal was meant in this game to determine the max number of factories you could have. That's what it was meant for. And that was removed in Hearts of Iron 4 with just simply building slots. So as a max percentage, let's see. Yes, we will sell you supplies for money. Steel. Yeah, the steel is much more. Now, again, steel factories are big things, but we are looking at it. Broadcasting, have a look at the program's great. Medium popularity will probably go back on that. Basic education, investment, advanced. Okay, nice. Basic education. Yeah, we're going to stop that. 39 is just too far in advance for right now. Okay, we still haven't gotten that. Yeah, I think, yeah, the oil didn't seem too bad on it, but I may change some. I may just change the TRE start. We give them supplies for money. Yes, okay, good. Okay, here now, because we have the base levels, so instead of small news, heroic, and entertainment, I think it's the entertainment show that will reduce consumer goods the most, so we want to give them pan and circus, bread and circuses. Walter Wevel, he was an army officer, transfers over to the Luftwaffe and learns to fly. He's never, he's an older man, so he's never like a fighter pilot, but he flies reasonably well, and he dies in an airplane crash. Not his fault, or at least not directly. It was, I think, I may even say it here, the flaps or something were locked down, and although he didn't, that he was flying had not been properly examined during pre-flight checks, and the aileron gust locks were not removed. Whether he as the pilot should have done that or relied upon his ground crew, I think he was high ranking and relying upon his ground crew to do that. They didn't. So it's lost for the Reich. He'll die. Focus on dive bombers and ground. This is a little different than the B-ice, which should be removed, and which we'll see if it will have the version there. That version, when I last saw it, he automatically died. There was a chance for him to survive. Small one, but that will focus on that. He was the one that was promoting a strategic air force for Germany. And when he dies, a lot of that ends. Oh, advanced internet. Okay, thank you for pointing that out. And we will come over and look at, yes. Yes, you want to do this. This is a for sure thing. And yes, it should take metal, because there's a lot of steel reinforcing going into that concrete. And yes, you want this. No matter what you think the cost is, it's going to be cheaper than, because I did some of the math back when, it's going to be cheaper than you building it. But this is just the start of the program. You don't get forts now. This isn't a, yeah, we've got forts, so we can go to war now in 1936. No, that's just, we're starting the building. You'll get forts eventually, but not now. Great War analysis. Are we done analyzing the Great War? And they were still doing some of that this late, shall we say. But I would still have some more of that done. The French did not do the Great War analysis, in my opinion, because they want to just go, hey, yeah, it worked. Yeah, great, cool. We can win again doing the same thing. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to talk about all these. Slowing things down too much. Probably bad for Germany. Had Arno was asking how would the war have been if he had been alive. Strategic bombing, I think, has been not, well, let me put it this way, and this I think I'm accurate in saying, not as successful as the strategic bomber theorists and practitioners thought it would be. They thought it'd be more effective. It has not been effective. It may be now with smart weapons, and obviously it's effective with nukes, but short of nukes, it's not as effective. Is it costing, say, particularly the Americans, but also the British, is it costing them less, to wage the offensive war, bombing war, than it's costing Germany, both in the idea of factories destroyed, building things like anti-aircraft guns and placing them around in such large numbers, and having fighters defending Germany as opposed to fighters defending covering the front line areas and sweeping enemy aircraft away. Maybe it is cost effective for the Allies for all their effort that they put into it, but it is not nearly as crippling as they thought it would be. So at times I may have said it's a failure. I don't know if it's a failure. It is, but it definitely fails in living up to its expectations. Now, could Germany have done that? Yes, but not well. Germany did not have engine production, and particularly aircraft engine enough production as it was. And building 4-engine bombers takes 4 engines and not 2 engines. So your 2-engine, your Ju-88s or your Heinkel 111s or something like that are 2-engine bombers. They don't have enough engines for those. If you made them just a little bit bigger, which they could have, bigger airframes, use a little bit more aluminum, a little bit more whatever, they could have done that. It would have been probably within the realities of the situation mean fewer aircraft could have been completed, but it would have meant they couldn't have doubled without saying cutting back on all of the truck transports and all the other needs for engines, without doing all of that too, and they didn't have enough truck transport as it is, because they didn't have a Lend-Lease partner giving it to them. It would have cut the number of sort of what were medium bombers in half and turned them into strategic bombers for no real appreciable effect on the battlefield, in my opinion, and definitely not enough of an effect on the strategic, bombing, whether it's Britain or Soviet Union's rear areas. Now, having some bombers do it, which Germany did have it, does force them to make defenses, but that, which is a good cost for them, but doing it some might not destroy so much of the production levels, but forces them to do that, like I was saying, the defenses, whether that's keeping airplanes over Britain for defense as opposed to going over Germany, or building more anti-aircraft guns. You can see all the anti-aircraft guns that are shooting at like V1 buzz bombs. All that's all that could have been turned into field artillery, you know, if it was built as field artillery instead of being built as anti-aircraft guns for more artillery. And all those anti-aircraft shells could have been turned into artillery shells on the front line. So it's shifting production orders with in proportion. So some strategic bombing is useful for Germany, but focusing on it as much as Weber wanted to do it, Germany could not have done it, and it would have ultimately been a bad decision. Let me catch up on what, you know, economic micromanagement is probably something nobody wants, maybe except an accountant guy. Yeah, well, I want to be making some choices. I want to be able to go, well, am I building my planes now, or am I building my factories? And then I want, unlike, say, we were talking earlier about, you know, Gary Grigsby's War in the East or War in the West. I'm saying this again because people watching later on YouTube, is a really good theater-based game. But I want to decide, do I want to build more, you know, medium bombers or more tactical bombers or more tanks or more trucks or more whatever, and have it sort of at the strategic level of choices that I have, including what ministers I have in where and their effects and all of that. So I like this game better than, say, a theater-based game, because I like to have that sort of big macro decision process making, and which really isn't also there well in something like either War Plan or Strategic Command. They have some of it, definitely. You know, you do have choices of what units to produce. There is some of that there, but it is not nearly to the level of Hearts of Iron. So yeah, I like this. I just think it's going a little bit too much more into it. If you want war economy sims, there's plenty out there. I just want to build fleets of hoods and reenact the sinking of the big Bismarck film. Good film. Yeah, no, generally, I just think that this is becoming too much of a struggle, is my point, Van Bishop. Not that I don't like it here. I like it. I like generally what it is, but the idea that I only have 450 steel and I can't freaking build an artificial lake is pissing me off. Because it's a thing and wasn't a major expense. And now I made that event, so I caused that. Okay, track prime mover, that is... so I'm to blame for it. I'm not blaming somebody else for it being here. Where is track prime mover? Is it down? Operating? No. Oh, you know, that's there. That's not that. Oh, is it? No, there. Yeah, it's still 36. Oh, here. Turn that off. So, but it was made under, we'll do this now. It was made under earlier conditions of the game. So I'm good with the mechanics. That's not what I'm not talking about whether I like this stuff. It's just the level of worry I have to put into it for some relatively simple things. I think we're going to have, oh, come on, let's speed this up some. Oh, we need to go, okay, let's make sure pop up and pause. I want to do that. Spearhead Doctrine, okay. That one that is, no. Monumental Architecture Advance, that is here. And what is the other one? Advanced Training Centers. And hopefully, helpfully saying it's over here. Okay, yes, Advanced Training Centers. So we'll stop that. This whole screen is new to me to playing this. Just put that out though. We're probably not going to be building any of that. Okay, what popped up? Okay, rolling artillery barrages. That's why that is nice. Yeah, we'll keep that going. Yes, we're going to support the Sudeten Deutsches Party. Okay. Okay, let's, now we have this. let's, oh, we already missed that. Okay. Yes, you can have energy, great. But we're not building much of it. Sentry boxes. Not that I'm going to give you any money, but I'll give you a good shout out. If you ever find, and I've searched, ever find a picture like this, but in color, I would love it. This sentry box, they used a lot of sentry boxes in Germany. And here's the plans, the official plans, and there's a photo of one. This is one for the SA, but this is a sort of, I don't know, blood red or bright red or whatever sentry box. So it's all red with the white here and the black swastika, of course. But that's all red instead of the, like the Army is sort of, red, white, and black, stripes or zigzags or whatever. I would love a color, just the pop of the color of that. If there's ever an existence of a color photograph of an SA sentry box, I would love it. So if you ever find one, you'll get my reward shout out or something. That's all it's going to be, but you'll definitely get that. Yeah, Van Bishop. Didn't you tell me earlier that you would? No, I will not use colorized photos, Brett. Colorized. So a period color photo, and I use some of those. So if you have a color photo from the period, I'll happily use it. But I won't use a colorized, modern colorized photo. And so I'm not trying to replace, say, things like this with something in color, because this is what it was. This was a brochure about the Graf Zeppelin here, too, from the period. So I will happily use color photos of the period when I can. And so but I don't want one that's colorized. I want an actual color photo of the period of the sentry box. So that, because see, I don't know because there was a specified what the color was supposed to look like, but what did it look like? Now somebody could recreate in a model, like a 3D, a model on a table, for, like a figure model, actual model, and have a guy standing out in front of a photo box, a sentry box, and paint it the color that he thinks is right. But I don't know what it really would have looked like. I mean, that's his interpretation of it, and the model maker may be right when he does it, but we don't know, because none of those sentry boxes survived, where we have SA uniforms, and we can look at the SA uniform. I actually know somebody who, I don't know him personally, but I know online, somebody who has a fabric book that has swatches in it for you to look at, to go, yeah, I want my uniform made out of that. And they include, Army uniform swatches. This is for officers and things like that, but also SA and other ones. So we have the original uniforms, original swatches, and you can look at that and see what the color was, a photograph of it, or obviously look at the original. So that isn't lying. So I will use a modern photo of, say, an SA uniform, because we can see what that brown really was. And so I'm good with that. And again, a period color image, or a period colorized, because a period colorized thing, they saw the original maybe, so they knew what the original looked like, because they were maybe doing it from the original, as opposed to us reinterpreting. So that's the difference. And I know you got me, but I'm just explaining to everybody else out there. Hello, Rick Q 511. Not streaming, hot damn. It's cracked open, brewski boys, but keep 6 foot distance from me. Okay, yep, that's right. We're keeping our distance, hanging out here. Should get into it, just can't. Yeah, I understand about not getting into it. HoI3. Okay, so the Graf Zeppelin, we're going to start production. Metals, rare materials because of aluminum particularly. Sure, Pluck Doctrine Advance. That is here, and yes, we're going to let that continue. Okay, new month. Okay, stop. Yes, zinc, whatever. Shocking diplomat. I just gotta highlight this diplomatic report from Geneva and the General Assemblies in the League of Nations during the session on July 3rd, 36. Stefan Lux, a Czechoslovakian Jew journalist, born in Vienna in 1888, committed suicide in protest to the rise of Nazism and the anti-Semitic Nuremberg laws in Germany. Lux was a regular in the League's press gallery. On the morning of July 3rd, he rose during the proceedings and called out to the Secretary General Joseph Avignon by name and cried, whatever, this is the last blow, and shot himself. Well, I think nice protest against the evils, but I think what David Frankfurter did was more effective. Okay, so we're going to lose 2,000 money for this entertainment show thing. Again, that's the standard mod, not myself building it. Heinrich's the first death. Himmler is celebrating. He thinks he's reincarnation of Heinrich the First. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, that's not okay. So we can do some of these things. Oh, okay, for nickel. I wish there was a guide somewhere to this. I know I could make one, I guess, but what the different things do. Sends digital whiskey. So, ordering the battleship Bismarck, sure, yeah, we'll do that. Oh god, 1,500 metal, we don't have that. Now that should take a lot of metal. Yeah, no, that isn't. Yeah, okay. Change ICs for resources. No, thank you. I want resources, but I also want my ICs. That's why I built them. Yeah, metal is being overly hit on this. So we're gonna change something. Okay, a lot less consumer goods, so that's why it's so useful to have that event. And we are still climbing up on that. We got that. We're needing more supplies now, but we're able to get more and more stuff into production. Okay. Okay, armor casting. That's another element I don't know well enough. It's not just casting the metal, though that is part of it. I think there's a significant element of having it come out armored, not just mild steel. It's a technological difficulty, amongst other things. Okay, hold on, pause. Open strategic resources. Okay. Strategic effects is what you're talking about here? Oh, are you talking about up here? Well, okay, zinc. But well, all I know is here I don't have, and it just Nordhausen is 100% zinc. I don't know what zinc does. Or is there some other place you're suggesting my strategic effects? Okay. Yes. Okay, strategic effects. Oh, that will tell me. Okay, yes. So there's something here. Well, didn't see Captain of Industry. Okay, let me go through this slower. SAHA, I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to be. I don't see them here. This is the Great Depression effects, which we're no longer under. I don't even see zinc here, which we theoretically should have. I don't see a strategic effect there way here. And so I don't know. I don't think I'm now. This could be a case of just under Great Depression. Is that what this is here? This zinc? Is this 36? Is that supposed to be the zinc? Okay, let's close this. Okay, we're gonna do, let me, Secretary of Public Information, we're going to come up here and stop this. That'll be okay. Yeah, we're doing that. Yes, that. Yeah. Yes. Yes, now I'm going to save this just so that we save this. Test, so we know it's part of the test series. Okay, now see here, again, let me come over here. Let me get in and dig into this. And then we can show you here. Okay, countries. Common. Let's go back up to common. Is it triggered modifiers? Yeah, that would be it, I think. Okay, think that, yeah, okay, here we are. Well, no. Well, okay. Let's for a. Okay, well, let's do it this way. Tools, compare, entries, common, triggered modifiers. Open, compare. Okay. Well, let me. Okay, so we got this here. So okay, so you're seeing here the differences. This is again my version, which is superseding this other version over here. If it's supposed to be down here, nylon bonus mass livestock. Just don't know if this is not lining up or okay, here, resource effect. See again here, and thank God I'm doing this because I was sort of told that this was updated for for black ice. My version of the file does not include all of this. And it'll be a simple version or simple job of copying and pasting over to get it into the game. Okay, so right now this is completely bugged with this version. So it's not showing up at all here. And this is just simply start resource tank armor attack. Okay, so this is just not showing up at all at the comparator. I think it even gave up trying to compare the stuff there. Tank crew training effects. So that's all missing. I tweak, really I just tweak with a couple of small things here. Some of the pact of steel tripartite pact. Mine can stack, theirs doesn't, I think is the big thing. So all I really want to do is just change a teeny little bit of it, so it's easier for me to go in and modify their file and copy it over than try to change mine. So I'll have to do that. So this is why I needed to play this and go, instead of just go, yeah, it's ready, release it, you know, as people want me to do, and of course they don't see it. So that's why it's not happening, and the effects are really really messed up right now. So yeah, so let's come back over to that, start that up. Okay, come on, Let's see, transition over there. Oh, we crashed. We crashed. Okay, well, that's why we saved it. That's why we saved it before doing this, because we knew it could crash. And yes, the more you Alt-Tab in and out of things, the more likely you're going to have crashes and other bugs, obviously. Well, actually, no, I don't want to merge the files. What I want to do is identify my changes to the file. And there in that file, it's just, I think it's mostly that I want the tripartite pack and the pact of steel to stack and not replace each other. So it's really simple to go and find those things and just change that little bit of stuff and then just leave theirs unchanged, but have it in my version so it supersedes their version. So I'm mostly saying, yeah, your version's good, just I want to change teeny little things. And so sometimes it's just that is all that it takes to do it. So save games, load, test, yes. There could be some other thing that's, I'll have to go in and look to see if there's some other thing that's causing, because I thought it was by July. Oh, okay. Okay, no, it should be set. I want to blast through July and hopefully get through new industrial zone. Good. That is here, and now that's that. We'll send this over to road network, I guess. And we still have a little bit more, so we'll do airport capabilities. Okay, so that whole thing is just okay. We'll refire this, but we have enough metal this time to not go negative. Yes, small trades are fine. Big trades are just easier, but often don't last as long because they have money stored up, but they don't have that giant infrastructure project. Okay, research efficiency down, but IC gain much better. I just have a compulsion that even when I'm just sort of wanting to blast through something, not wanting to continue to play, not just like, yeah, I don't care. I really don't, but I just have this compulsion to go, yep, click on it, play the game. And as you can see from today, how often I have to play 1936 just to get these things started, identify problems like the, oh, well, okay, okay, Italy finally conquers, artillery brigades. That down, operating down here. Which is inefficient research, artillery. Oh, it's in artillery. Okay. Oh, here. Okay, and then I did see here, so we can come here and do artillery unit combined operations now. I believe we couldn't have done it earlier. And we just had a crash. Now that crash could have been because I was having it blow through at super high speeds. Could have been something else, but I'm thinking it's that. Okay guys, I've been at this for a long time. I'm going to take a break, so that's going to be the end of the stream, the end of the episode. I want to thank you for your help because you have been helpful. I'm going to, on my own, continue to do some more research on this, and unfortunately to all of you who want to play it, I might be waiting to want to play through this again next Saturday. If you guys want to join me, yes, later today I do, and I want to talk to IKB for a few minutes on Discord. If he's still around here, we can jump on Discord after the stream is over, and we talk about updating computer stuff. Just didn't want to do it in the middle of a live stream and recording and whatnot. Not that other people wouldn't be interested in my ideas on computers. But yeah, so thanks everybody, Van Bishop. Also a note, tomorrow we're going to be doing more War Thunder for that if you want to either join in and play or just watch. And Monday, I'll be streaming for Slytherin. It'll be Order of Battle. There's some announcements happening. I'm not going to say any more than that. You can maybe guess. But exactly what I was supposed to say before, not supposed to say, and it was supposed to be revealed then. So I'm just beyond that. Order of Battle, Monday, the usual time. Slytherin, you may want to be there for it if you're at all interested in Order of Battle. We'll be doing that. Stay Gucci, brothers. Keep your distance. Yes. Everybody be safe in this time, so you might want to catch that. So we'll be playing on Monday for that. So thanks, everybody.